Right, I see everyone is here. Hey Chan, hey Julio. I think we probably can start, Tabil, if you agree.
Yeah, okay.
Sure, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to the IEEE PSYP Powering Future Summit. I extend a warm welcome to our esteemed speakers, distinguished guests, industry leaders, and the brilliant young professionals who are the lifeblood of the summit. Your presence here is not just a participation, it's a testament to your commitment to shaping the future of energy. Thank you. Let's take a moment to appreciate the IEEE Power and Energy Society young professionals for organizing this event. Their dedication to fostering growth, learning, and collaboration in the power and energy sector is truly commendable. I'm going to pass the mic to Tabil, who is the organizing chair of the event. Tabil, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Milad. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, whenever you are, and welcome to our IEEE Power and Energy Society Young Professional Page YP Powering the Future Summit 2023. I am honored to be the organizing chair for this global summit. Actually, this summit is dedicated to providing the most up-to-date professional technical training to page members at the earliest stages of their career. Our mission is to accelerate climate solution and drive innovation for a sustainable future. So thank you very much to our guests for joining the opening ceremony, Shima Yakar, Julio Romero Aguero, Chan Ong, and John McDonald. These are the expert in their field and will be sharing insight on the latest emerging technologies. So this year's summit provides a premier platform for the engineer and the student to share their knowledge and ideas with the professional from around the world. So now I would like to take a moment to highlight our all track that we have planned for this summit. So first of all, mentoring track. This track will provide you with the opportunity to learn from, also network with experienced mentors. We have student transition and elevator partnership. Step YP track panel discussion. Also, we have entrepreneurship track. This track will provide you the resource and support if you need to start and grow your own business. We'll also organize a workshop. We have ONN Power Track, virtual industry visit, as well as two keynote session. So, in addition to our speakers, we would like to thank all of our organizing volunteers, especially Page YP Chair Albin, for their hard work in making this summit possible. I encourage you to take advantage of all that Summit 2023 has offered. I also encourage you to get involved in the PACE YP community. We offer a variety of resources and programs to help you young professionals develop their skills and careers. So I hope you have a good, productive, and enjoyable summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Tabil. I'm excited to introduce our first speaker, Simai Akar. Simai is an entrepreneur with reputable corporate industrial background and experience in the energy industry. She is specialized in photovoltaic manufacturing, battery storage for electric vehicles and renewable energy technologies, and clean energy market development. Simai is currently the Chief Commercial Officer and co-founder at Inauguration. Her past roles include Sales and Marketing Director of Eco Renewable Energy and Head of Overseas Marketing at Telson Solar. Uh, Simai, I pass the mic to you.
Thank you, Mila. Thank you, Tabil, for it's been a pleasure being here in this just like Power in the Future Summit is special for IEEE Pioneer Society Young Professionals team, and this is just like and how we just like started, and how we just like keep up the good work and just to empower more young professionals in our industry. So like I just want to first of all I want to mention about like how's it feeling being YP in the industry, because like in the first 15 years of your career after the graduation, there's so many things are changing. So many things are changing in the industry and the technology, and you're just following up, and then you're just trying to, stay connected, and you're trying to grow up in your industry, in your position in the company, academy, wherever you are. You're just taking the steps, and you're also dealing how to balance your life and your friends, family, building new, just like new things in your private life and in your back garden. And then you sometimes feel alone, and in all of these things happening around you. It's how you feel connected with the technology and the future technology in your life, in your career, and how you grow up, how you just all the activities and initiatives of this team. It reminds you you're not alone. So you're just connected. So your future, you're building your future. You're just like shaping your future. You're shaping future of this industry, and we're all doing this together. So that's why it's very important to understand your role in this industry and how you support the others. We support each other by sharing knowledge, by sharing, just like our experiences in our field, because just like no matter what experience you have, so like the industry and technology is just like leveraging. We all leverage all these technologies for the power industry together, and they're always tomorrow, so that we need to focus. So so that's why it's important to be YP in this industry, how we have the energy and the knowledge, while the experience, because just is not, we're not only young. So like we're young by heart because we have all the mentors. Like we have so many industry, just like leaders supporting us. Here we are in the ceremony. We have Chen, Julio, and John, Mila, Tabil. We are just like we already have this experience. We touch each other's life by knowing each other, networking, and whenever you need help, you know how to reach out. So like you have to go back and check, just like what I need in life. So this is actually building a network in this industry, and just by organizing these kind of events and supporting the young professionals with all your experiences also gives you a lot as a experienced professional. So that's why in this industry, as a young professional, we have experienced supporters who are already young professionals by heart and ready for us to shape the future together with their experience and with all our energy and motivation. So it's very important for us to understand, just like what is how we're shaping the future together by organizing and being part of this kind of events, by just watching and taking 5 minutes, 1 hour to learn a new technology and learn a new experience about like how the others deal with their challenges. So like I would like to thank all the organizers, just making a huge effort behind. And I'm so excited to see the outcome of this wonderful Power in the Future Summit 2023.
Thank you very much, Sumai. Certainly, it has been a pleasure working with this team organizing the event. Also, Sumai is the one that introduced me to the YP world, and I'm greatly appreciative for that. Thank you. All right, so our next speaker, my friend Dr. Chang Wang. Chang Wang is the Director of Innovation and Transformation of Empirical LLC, where he helps to create the emerging technology integration roadmap and strategies of the company. Previously, Chan worked for Energy Service Incorporation for more than 10 years in the areas of transmission protection and automation, smart meter, and IoT. He holds a PhD degree in automotive engineering from Clemson University, MBA, MS, and BS of electrical engineering from Tulane University. Chan, I pass it over to you.
Well, grab the mic. So I have the mic right now. Thank you. So I wanted to tag along with what Simai had mentioned about networking and leadership. So I want to start with a bit different about, I will share about how I met all the people here in the screen, right? I met Simai at Denver, Colorado in general meeting because I think my wife is also a volunteer. My wife's first name and Simai's first name are almost quite similar, just spelled differently, right? And then we met there and we talked about, I think at that time was Women in Power. And I met Milad in this year in IEEE PS Grid Edge. I still remember, I thank Milad of driving me to the dinner towards the last day, right? And then we worked together on a lot of the things on technical activities and Grid Edge, right? It's a new PS awards, PS event. Julio and I, we met before professionally and also personally. We talk a little bit about family. We'll talk about how to work-life balance in the power industries, and also we will talk about like a lot of the storage and renewable stuff. We have that connections. Tabil, as we spoke right now, Tabil, you and I are working on PES Day. We're trying to also do more things for the PES Day, celebrating about what is PES Day. I think, great to meet you as well. I saved the last but not least, my neighbor, John McDonald. So John and I met when I was working for NTG when I was in New Orleans. And after Hurricane Ida, I moved to Atlanta. And guess what? I did not know that my house to John's house is literally 10 minutes drive. So there you go. It's a small world, right? And John was a great mentor to me as well, not only professional, but also in IEEE. As you all know, John is involved a lot in IEEE foundations. And even though that John's favorite pet, Bruno, is also the IEEE Foundation K9, which I think he will talk about that later on. I will let him talk about that. Why I wanted to share this in the beginning is like Simai mentioned earlier. We all started as students, then young professional, then to full-time member, then senior member, then fellow, and so on, so on, so on, so on. We all love to volunteer. We all wanted to give some back to the community and also learn as well, right? So, for example, like I worked together with Milad in Grid Edge. I don't know how to host a conference when I was a student. I know how to participate in a conference, but I don't know how to host a conference. I don't know what it takes to run a conference and organize a conference, create a panel, invite people. But guess what? I was one of the daredevil a long time ago, and in New Orleans, I said, "Hey, I want to volunteer. I want to help out in this event." So guess what? As a young professional, a student at that time, I was given opportunity to, shadow somebody and be in the student or a student group or student lead for the conferences. Then I got to see how conferences are being run and how to do certain things, how to do budget and all the stuff, right? Throughout the volunteering with the PS or event, I got to meet people. Like I just mentioned, I met every single one of you guys in a different event. And guess what? Right now, I believe I have everybody WhatsApp and everybody cell phone number. I can call like, hey, how things going? Hey, could you help me out with this and those on, right? So it's a networking building. That's number one. The other thing is actually learning. I think like my personal opinion is that I think that we're all learning together with each other. And John has mentioned to me that there is also a young professional mentoring him. You hear this right? Young professional mentoring another veterans members. Same thing. We all cross training, cross learning, and I learned about it in Section Congress that Discord, right? You have Facebook, you have TikTok, and everything like that. Now they have Discord. So I also joined the Discord group with different groups to exchange information and learn about stuff. All in all, I think that as like Sima, you talk about it, young professional in heart, even though we start aging, but still we're always learning together with everybody. So I encourage everybody, who is listening, who is here, just volunteer, take leads. Tabil is one of the great examples this year that Tabil volunteered. Hey, I want to be the PES day chair. I want to make some changes. I want to do something new, do something fun. Volunteer. And then from there, we learn together. We help each other up as well. The most important thing is don't be afraid about failure or you don't have experience. All the people here, including the staff, IEEE, IEEE PS staff, IEEE volunteer, the committee, and the veterans, everybody here is to help to make things successful. So don't worry. Don't know, raise your hand or text somebody, call somebody. Hey, can you help me with this? Can you give me some idea with it? I just talked to John like a month ago, like, hey, I want to get some opinion from you about this. And no problem. John said, okay, this time work. Sure. We meet up, right? So same thing, anything you guys need, you want to volunteer, do that. By the way, one thing I will say last as well, if there's nothing that has existed, no event, no activities that's related to something that you wanted to do, raise it up, because we might not know that, oh, that is a good idea or this is something different, because after COVID, things different. That's how we have all these Zoom things going on, right? So everything changes. So if you have some good idea, raise it up. Don't feel bad. Don't feel concerned about like, oh, we never done this before. Well, first time doing it, maybe it's something that's new, something that will help other people down the road as well. We never know. So don't be afraid about volunteer. Don't be afraid to take lead. And also that, hey, we are all here to help each other up. So anything you need, just let us know. So I'll leave it as this. Thanks, Milad.
Thank you very much, and yeah, thank you for bringing up that traumatic memory of being a passenger in a car that I was driving. Yeah, it was a very good time in last year Grid Edge, the first Grid Edge conference, and it was a pleasure working with Chan. Our next speaker, Dr. Julio Romero Aguero. Julio is Senior Vice President, Strategy and Business Innovation at Quanta Technology. He has 28 years of experience. He provides leadership to Quanta Technology in the areas of technology strategy, innovation, grid modernization, distribution systems planning, reliability, resiliency, and integration of distributed energy resources and emerging technologies. Julio, I pass the mic to you.
Well, thank you, Milad, for the introduction, and thank you to the Young Professionals team for the invitation to present today. It's a pleasure to be here with my friends and colleagues. As Chan mentioned, all of us know each other through PS, through IEEE activities, as volunteers, of course, and also as we have had the privilege to lead activities and teams. So it's great to be here. I have a short presentation. So I like presentations. So let me share my screen. Let's see if that works. Let's see. Let me try to do this. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see. Okay. I'm still learning how to use, let's see, slides. My computer. Okay, I'll continue trying, but what I wanted to share with you all is, I mean, why? Oh, here it is. Now I know how to do it. Okay, there you go. So okay, so why are we here? I mean, why the Power in the Future Summit, and why young professionals are important for PS, for IEEE, and for the broader society in general. So we'll talk about that in a moment. I wanted to share my personal experience joining IEEE and also joining PES. Why did I do it? I must tell you that initially it was, to some extent, a matter of curiosity. I had heard about IEEE, I had heard about PES when I was in undergrad, when I was doing my my undergrad. And although I was interested, I never joined. But then after my undergrad, I started working for some years, and then I went back to grad school. And then in grad school, I had the fortune to join to study in a university that had a very active student branch, University of San Juan in Argentina. And they were organizing a field trip to Itaipu in Brazil, Itaipu at the time was the largest hydropower station in the world. It was the largest for several decades, a couple of decades, 2, 3 decades probably, before Three Gorges in China was built. So I was very interested in going. So one of the requirements to go was to join IEEE and PS. So I did, and that changed my life. That trip changed my life. I became good friends with the team, the student branch team, and I really understood the value that PS provides. But certainly there is value in networking for sure. There is tremendous value in networking and sharing experiences, but there is also tremendous value in developing skills, technical skills, and learning more about your profession. And eventually, as you learn, also you have the opportunity to share. And after I finished my grad studies, I went back to work in the industry, and I remained in touch with IEEE. I eventually became section chair. I remember that's how I met John. He visited us in Honduras in 2000, and I think that it was 2007, if I'm not mistaken, early 2007, to do a DLP. He's a distinguished lecturer of PS, so we did a DLP in substation automation, very successful, I remember. So and later on, when I moved to the US, I continued, of course, getting involved in PS. And as I said, that changed my life. So it really helped me grow in my career, professionally and also personally. To have the opportunity to learn from all of you is amazing. So there is tremendous value in PS and in IEEE. Now, the challenge is things in our industry are changing quite a bit and very rapidly, and we need more people. We don't have enough people, and we need leadership from young professionals. We need you all to get involved in technical activities as well, because over the next 20 years, there is going to be tremendous need to develop new knowledge. And what I mean by that is this: the expectation or the vision that we have as an industry is that we are going through this energy transition, and by 2040, 2050, around that time, we'll be operating systems that rely on 100% clean energy, or in some cases, 100% renewables. And the majority of them, or a fair amount of them, are going to be inverter-based technologies. Wind, solar. We'll have energy storage as well. We'll have more electric transportation. And we have never done that. Yes, we have operated systems that are mainly based on renewables, but they are synchronous machines, hydropower systems, right? Costa Rica has a system that is almost 100% based on renewables, but they have a large share of hydro. Brazil is another example. Then in Europe, we have the case of France. They have a large fleet of nuclear generation that is considered a clean energy technology, but those are also synchronous machines. So they rely on the traditional concepts of inertia. Inertia is very important, as you know, in the operation of power systems. But if we want to operate a system as large as for instance, the US, or as large as Brazil, I'm sorry, not Brazil, the US, or as large as, for instance, India or China, and we want to use 60%, 70% inverter-based technologies, we have never done that. So, and of course, I mean, we have a general understanding of how to do it, but in reality, we'll have to develop a lot of new knowledge. There has to be a need for new technologies. There is a need for planning, for modeling, simulations. And then on top of that, if we add the climate crisis, things are really, really challenging. So we need you guys, because in 20 years, I'll be probably very close to retirement. So we'll need you all, young professionals, to lead this industry over the next 20 years. So as I said before, what we do as a community, as a society, PES and IEEE, is vital for our global future. I mean, it's clear that when you look at data, historical data, it's clear that climate change is here. It has been here for some time, and things are getting worse. So we need to do our share. Of course, everybody, the entire society, and I'm talking about society in general, beyond our industry or profession, everybody has to contribute, but we have to do our share. We are, one of the key challenges, as I mentioned before, is more frequent, more severe, more costly weather events. Again, when you look at the data, the trends are clear. This is data from publicly available data from the World Meteorological Organization, and also from the National Centers for Environmental Information here in the US. This is on the left side, global data, and on the right side, this is US data. And again, the trends are clear. Events are more costly, more severe, more frequent weather events, right? And deaths are also, in some cases, increasing, so which is unfortunate. At the same time, what we do is really cool. And I think that this is where we are missing, I would say. We need to do more about this. What I mean by that is, still today, when you talk to students and some young professionals from our own industry and also from related industries, many of them think about power, and they think that it's a kind of a boring area where nothing is happening, and that cannot be farther from the truth. As we know, I mentioned electric vehicles, I mentioned renewables, smart grid, grid modernization. All of these areas are really, really interesting, really dynamic. What we do is really cool, and we need to communicate that message, because again, we need to recruit those those new generations of power and energy professionals to help us address challenges like this one. This is I mean, the energy transition is real, it's here. We haven't reached the goal, but we are heading in that direction very quickly, and this shows it. This is the California ISO load curve. In 2015, 8 years ago, it looked like this, which is, it is more or less typical of a power system. Usually around noon, there is another small peak. But already in 2015, they had seen some decrease in that peak, mainly to the adoption of solar generation. And then in 8 years, look at what happens. A tremendous change, precisely because of the adoption of solar generation, wind, and other renewable energy technologies. So operating this type of system today is already challenging. If you're familiar with operations of power systems, these ramp rates are challenging for you need not every power generation technology has the capability to follow load that changes as fast as this. So again, the need to develop new knowledge, new technologies, new solutions is real. And this is the key challenge. This is data from the US, but I think that this probably applies to every country, probably every region, certainly every region of IEEE. Out of 10,000 kids who enter the preschool system here in the US, only 1.7 become power engineers, only 23 become electrical engineers, and 130 get the bachelor's of engineering degrees. So traditionally, in our industry, most of us hold electrical engineering or power engineering degrees. But we can see that we can try to make that tent broader, and by doing that, we would have the opportunity to access a larger talent pool, which is what we need, as I mentioned before. And for instance, Simai is a very good example, a young professional leader, and she is not a power engineer, but she has been contributing to our industry significantly for the last years. So we need to do that. We need to make that tent a larger tent, so we can attract and recruit more talented professionals to join our industry. And this is a key concern all over the world. These are results from a recent survey from utility executives or power and energy executives. And you can see that clearly for most of them, talent shortage and the need to recruit additional talent in our area is a key concern. It is difficult to find talent. So again, we need more people. This is historical data. This is also from the US, going back to my point about electrical engineers and related professions, electronics and communications engineering degrees. This is data since 1970 all the way up to 2020. So you can see that the annual number of graduates in these fields have remained relatively constant. There was a peak in the mid 80s and then a decrease, and now we are kind of slowly going up again. But this is not sufficient. I mean, for the US, of course, and as I said, probably data from other countries is similar. Mechanical engineering degrees, they have done a better job. I mean, the number has triplicated over the last 50 years. This is better, probably not enough either, because many mechanical engineers are already working in our profession as well. But it's a better job than electrical and electronics and communications engineers. The guys who have done a really good job are IT, computer science and information sciences. You can see that the growth has been amazing from probably, I think that this is probably 1,000, 2,000 graduates in 1970 to close to 100,000 in 2020. This is more or less what we need on our side for the next 20 years. I mean, we really need a lot of help. So part of your mission as young professionals and volunteers within PES is to communicate that message and to help us recruit that talent to join our industry. By doing that, we also are going to become more diverse, because some of those other professions, STEM in general, science, technology, math, not only engineering, but engineering in general, right? Civil engineering, industrial engineering, etc. We need all of those guys. Some of those professions are more diverse than electrical engineering profession, the electrical engineering profession. So by making that tent bigger, will also become more diverse, gender diverse, regional diversity as well, which is one of the key goals of PES. And of course, that is all of that is to some extent volunteering, right? It's when you join PES, when you join IEEE, of course, there are benefits for you as a professional, but you also try to give something in return. And all of what I mentioned before is volunteering to change things and to save the world. I mean, I think that we are in that mission to save the world, especially given the climate crisis. So my message to you is also get involved in technical committees. Try to participate in for instance, I am vice chair of the T&D, the Transmission and Distribution Committee. We need your help. Join technical committees if you want to learn more about it. Take a look at the PES website. There is a list of all the different technical committees depending on your area of interest. All of them need help. And if you want to learn more about it, we can put you in contact with Hong Chen, who is the Vice President of Technical Activities. She's finishing her term, and Diane Watkins is going to be the new VP of Technical Activities. We can put you in contact with her, and we can make it happen if you are interested. We are trying to make those meetings hybrid, so you can join also remotely. And my final slide is just to make you aware. As I said, when you are a member of PES, you volunteer to give something to return some of the great benefits that you have received through the years. But there are also additional benefits by joining that you enjoy by joining PES. And this is a new benefit. If you renew your membership this year, or if you become a new member this year, then you'll have access now to the PS digital library. That's for free. Just by joining, just by becoming a member, you will have access to transactions on power systems, transactions on power delivery, transactions on energy conversion, and also to proceedings, conference proceedings from the IEEE General Meeting, PS General Meeting, from the Transmission and Distribution Conference and Exposition, from the ISGT series of conferences, etc. All PS sponsored conferences. That is tremendous value, especially if you're studying right now in a university that doesn't have access to some of these documents. I would say a tremendous body of knowledge from all the main universities in the world, and from distinguished researchers and professionals is there. I mean, it's tremendous value. And this is also value for young professionals, because yes, many of us have had access when we were students through our universities, but then once you become a professional, the company you work for may not have access to some of these documents, but you individually have now as a PS member. So I encourage you to renew, to join, if not join PS. And again, thank you for everything that you all do, and for the invitation to present today.
All right. Without further ado, I know many of you, like myself, are excited to hear from one of the legends of our industry, John McDonald. So without further ado, I pass the mic to John.
Thank you. Thanks, Malat. It's always exciting for me to be with the young professionals. I remember when we started the Young Professionals program at IEEE PS with Professor Aaron St. Ledger, and we did a number of webinars in the beginning to kick it off. I want to emphasize that getting involved with IEEE is very important. Julio talked about how he got involved. I got involved 52 years ago, so I've been an IEEE member 52 years, and also a member of HKN, the Electrical Engineering Honor Society, 52 years ago, inducted at Purdue University. And you want to stay active in IEEE and take leadership positions. I say, you want to have a good balance between internal and external activities. I see people that are 100% internally focused, which means that they go to work every day and they do a good job with their work, but they don't have anything else that they're involved in. The risk of that is that you make decisions for your company that you think are the best, but they may not be the best. For instance, a new standard may be developed with a new communications protocol, and you've just recommended your company buy equipment from a vendor who doesn't know that this standard is being written. And 9 months later, when the standard is published, all the customers want equipment only with a new standard. And you've just recommended your company to buy equipment that's now obsolete, and this is a very real situation. So you have to know what's happening in the world around you. And that involves a balance between internal and external focus. And IEEE is the best. Now, why is IEEE the best? Well, for CGRE, I'm the one that nominates U.S. subject matter experts for CGRE working groups. There's a limit with CGRE to how many people from the U.S. we can have on any working group. And that's true for experienced people, for young people, for corresponding members. There's a limit. For the and CGRE writes technical reports, not standards. For IEC, we would recommend you from the U.S., but you have to be qualified. And there's a limit to how many U.S. people can be involved in an IEC working group, okay? IEEE, there's no limits. It's truly volunteer. In 1987, when I wanted to get involved with substations and writing standards, I looked on a website, found when the next substations committee meeting was. I showed up, I went to a working group meeting, volunteered with the working group. A year later, I became the working group chair. A couple of years later, I became the subcommittee chair over all standards and substation automation. And in 2001 and 2, I was chair of the whole substations committee. Okay, so it is truly volunteer. One of the most important things for all young professionals is LinkedIn. And I really emphasize that. Many companies, the HR departments of companies, pay LinkedIn to keyword search profiles and find candidates for very good work positions. I talk to a lot of young professionals that I mentor, say, how did you find that opportunity? And they said, I didn't find it. A company contacted me, and it was through their LinkedIn profile. Okay, so you want to have a detailed LinkedIn profile. You want to keep it up to date because it will increase your chances, okay, of being contacted and finding good work opportunities. That's something I pride myself on. We at GE, we have social media experts, young people that grade us on our profiles. I have one of the top profiles at GE. So we judge it based on 14 criteria. So if you're interested in, what is a good profile, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and take a look at my profile. So I think, that's important. And don't be afraid to message somebody using LinkedIn. Okay. I mentor a number of young men and women, both, that contacted me through LinkedIn messaging. Okay. They had never met me before. They heard a talk that I gave, and they really liked what I had to say, and they wanted some help with their career. So, feel free to do that. Now, there's two things that I really recommend. One is on the PES Resource Center, and that's a 1-hour webinar that I've given on key insights to career management. So I review my 50-year full-time engineering career, and there were 12 key decisions I made that impacted the rest of my career. And I go through these in the 1-hour webinar. It's called Key Insights to Career Management, and it's on the PES Resource Center. And I have to tell you a story about that. I was giving it one time virtually, and a young woman said to me afterwards, because I talk about mentoring, and I said, if you see someone that you want as a mentor, don't be afraid to ask. Have the courage to ask, right? Don't be afraid to ask. And I can't tell you how many young people are afraid to ask. And after my webinar, this young woman had the courage to ask. And who is her mentor? Samai, right, Samai? So if it wasn't for my webinar and emphasizing having courage to ask, the connection between this young woman and Samai and a mentoring relationship would have never happened, okay? Because this young woman was afraid, as Samai is so busy, I don't think she would say yes. I'm afraid she may say no. I said, no, have the courage to ask. She did. And they have a very nice mentoring relationship. So have the courage to ask, okay? Now, there's a 30-minute video on the HKN website. It's episode 2 of Career Conversations. And Rebecca Cohen is a young professional. She was the HKN chapter chair at Drexel University as a student. She now works for Lockheed, but very capable. She interviewed me on the subject of mentoring. What is mentoring? What isn't mentoring? And it's available online. It's a YouTube video. You'll find it on, it's called Career Conversation, episode 2 on the HKN website. When we started the IEEE mentoring program, and we just started the HKN mentoring program, before the first mentoring session, we really recommend that the mentee watch the Key Insights to Career Management 1-hour webinar and the YouTube video on mentoring, the interview of me by Rebecca, because then you will have a good idea, of what you want to talk about with your mentor in a mentoring relationship. Okay, so I really recommend you utilize those two resources. Chan mentioned we had a pilot project at our company called Reverse Mentoring, and we were hiring college graduates, in an IT leadership program, a 2-year rotational program at GE. And I had a recent college graduate in IT systems mentor me. And, I was teaching about the industry, and he was helping me with software applications that would help me with my work, and software applications within GE. And we became so close that we continued. This was a pilot project, but when it ended, we continued the mentoring, the reverse mentoring relationship. So one thing with LinkedIn, one thing with IEEE is networking. In my 50-year full-time engineering career, I worked for 6 companies. 5 of the 6 job changes were through friends in my network. That's how important networking is. 5 of the 6 job changes were through friends, okay? So LinkedIn helps you tremendously with networking, but IEEE is phenomenal. But with IEEE, don't just go to a meeting and sit in the back of the room, okay? Volunteer for leadership positions, get involved. You get more out of something the more you put into it, okay? So you want to drive the meeting. You don't want to be in the back of the room and letting others make the decisions. You want to be the leader. So let me sum up. IEEE is completely voluntary. The only limit to developing your career, gaining leadership experience, expanding your network, learning more about the depth of technology, the only limit is you by not taking advantage of all the opportunities at IEEE. Okay, there is no limit. All right, and take advantage of all these opportunities. Volunteer, and don't be afraid to volunteer. I remember young people that say, "John, I don't want to volunteer for this. It's huge, and I don't have the time." I said, "Wait a minute. You won't have to do it all yourself." I find many young people think they don't volunteer because it's too much work. I said, when I volunteer to do something, the first step is I build a team of people to help me, okay? I've been on the IEEE Foundation board now for 3 years, and I'll be serving another 3 years. But last year, when Karen Gallucci, the executive director, asked me if I would chair the 50th anniversary celebration committee, which is a huge deal, 50 years of IEEE Foundation, I said, yes, I'd be happy to do it. And what did I do? I built a team of people. One of those is Samai. Samai is on my 50th anniversary celebration committee. You build a team of people to help you do the work. So don't ever be afraid to do something because you don't have the time to do it. Build a team of people to help you, okay? And don't limit yourself. Don't hold back. So Milad, I'll end there and turn it back over to you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, John. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in these years that I've known John, every time I've seen him, he generously gave advice, and it was a pleasure talking to John in conferences. In whichever conference, one of the peak moments is the moment that you see John and start talking to him. Thank you very much. Also, I would probably not be here if it wasn't for John. He was the one that introduced me to Power and Energy Society volunteers at the time and suggested to develop a student guideline for student branch chapters. And that was the starting point for me for volunteering for Power and Energy Society. Thank you very much, John. All right, so as the closing, I just received statistics of our event, and I'm excited to share these numbers with you. As of now, we have 298 registrations from 52 countries, which is very excited. And we are glad that you found this event interesting. This was the opening ceremony, and our technical events are going to start right after this one. And we are going to have our first session right after this one. So please join those and benefit from the great speakers that we invited for Powering the Future Summit. All right, thank you very much, everyone. It was great listening to the great speeches from the speakers that we invited. I hope you have a good day and weekend, and enjoy this event. Everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.
Yeah. Bye.
By share.
You are live. Chaktas, any update for our next speaker?
Mr. Zamani, but he is
Yeah.
not here.
We have another session like after 6 minutes. So
Mhm.
keynote session on.
Yes, but Mr. Zamani's connection information I don't have. Therefore, I didn't connect with him. If it is possible, who is responsible, really, I don't know. Write anything or call to him because he is not here, as you know.
Yeah, hello. Dharis.
Hello, this is Varas. Can you hear me well?
Yeah,
Yes.
check this. You can
Yes.
continue, like introducing him and yeah.
When we are start?
You can continue, like introduction from
Mm.
Bharis, are you ready?
Yes, yeah,
Mr.
Yeah, thank
Manas,
you.
have any presentation?
yes, yeah, yeah.
I can show about this. Could you upload that?
Okay, let me. I can use the present or share a screen. You think is better or?
I think we need a time. I can start.
Can you
What do you
see
think
that
about
now
it?
or?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I can show.
You can see or?
Yeah, it's visible now. Okay. Oh, sorry. You can also just remove it. Yeah. Can you do it again?
Do it again.
Okay.
We can't see any screen right now.
You
Yeah.
can
If
see.
you see, yeah. It's need to add the stage presentation.
Yes.
So
It's
yeah,
okay.
now it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Excellent. Okay.
It is ready.
Actually, I will turn off my camera and start the presentation. That's a good
Okay.
plan. Excellent.
We are leaving. We are only. Okay. Hello, everybody. Our summit continues at full speed. As you know, get ready for IEEE PES Young Professional Powering the Future Summit 2023. In this summit motto, accelerating climate solutions, innovations for sustainable future. In the previous section, shared really important information and experiences by Mr. John McDonald, Mr. Simayakar, Mr. Shan Wong, Mr. Julio Romero Aguero, and we are continuing with the Keynote 1 session. Mr. Wahraz Zamani with us, and he will be present some information about the innovation in power systems planning and operation for sustainable energy solutions. I want to present to Mr. Wahraz Zamani, PhD. He is living in Orlando, USA. He is portfolio consulting manager, Power Technologies International, PTI, Siemens Industry. Repeatedly, hello, Mr. Zamani. Stage is yours. Thank you for giving a time to us.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. I think all over the place of the world, the IEEE member joining. I really appreciate your effort and give me this opportunity to talk with the young professional under the umbrella of the IEEE event. I think we can start my presentation and discuss. Please keep and write your question. We can have a good discussion at the end to go to over and discuss with each other and see understanding we can reach to some consensus about the topic. Just I want to bring you in this slide what we are going to discuss. We want to see what are the challenges, current challenges for the energy sector. What will be the future grid look like? We bring two use cases. One is about the utility perspective with the high EV in charging station impact on the grid. And in another city perspective, we want to look at the high electrification impact. If that city is going to the net zero plan or promoting putting the changing the lots of natural gas base heating system to the electrical base, what will happen to the load, what will happen to their grid, and how much improvement they needed to be implemented. And finally, we will have a open discussion about the material that we presented, and we can ask about the question in this frame. If we are looking at our current challenges, we are dealing with the global and local trends. Not necessarily every places in the world they have the same challenges, but we can name it in the different. Our major challenge right now is can be a climate change, pushing for digitalization, increasing the efficiency and improving the service of the life and quality of the life. Also, we have seen a lots of demographic changes, lots of migration of the population with the different demography to the different location from point to A to point B of the world. And this causes lots of changes in the population and urbanization. How much resource are available for all these people and all the countries? And then we passed through the major event like COVID shared with us lots of challenges, lots of new side of the planning, how we need to look at it. This brings us very structural and profoundly changes. If you look at the main driver, we can see number of the population. By 2050, our population almost reaching to the 10 billion from now. This brings us, okay, all these people, they need the clean, reliable energy to have a decent life. Another challenge we will see, okay, this number of the people where they are sitting, mostly it will be in the urban area. They are moving to the area, the city, big city, or near to the city, and they needed, and they projected actually by the United Nations, almost 70% of these people will be near to the urban area. And it's interesting how much our infrastructure in the urban are ready to accept this number of the population. It would be very critical and it's interesting to discuss and think about it. Another factor that brings us, it shows again by the United Nations, 90% of the people, they will spend almost of their day indoor. That means all the AC, heating, cooling, providing clean water, clean electricity, communication will happen all indoors. It can be in residential, it can be in commercial, but all of them will be has a hugely impact on the grid and providing this reliable power for that residential or commercial building to operate properly. Another thing that what they seen right now, the 40% of our energy that will be consumed by the building. It seems that how much the grid infrastructure will be needed to be improved and can be supported to provide the energy to the people that they are the end user of this energy. All these trends that we discussed, they are global trends that can be seen in most of the places. Also, some other countries, some of the continent, they have a specific rules that comes from the rules by the regulation. They pushing forward to adjust the net zero or adjusting lots of green energy or net zero program. For example, European Union, they are going to make it neutral continent by 2050. That means they needed to be added lots of new generation resources to their existing system and retiring lots of existing and fossil-based generation to the new generation type of that can be green and can be clean energy to provide the electricity for their people. All these challenges and driver, what will we have an impact in our infrastructure, which is we should be provide the service to the people. We need have a sustainable energy transition. How we can support this transition from the 80% fossil-based energy resources to the renewable energy resources or carbon clean energy. On the other hand, to change the generation portfolio, we have a new type of the load that comes from the immobility, that comes from the digitalization, it comes from the electrification that can be increased year by year. In the side of the sustainable energy transition, we need to have a sustainable community to help to create a community that they can address the needs of the people, provide the healthy, comfortable, and productivity for them. We look at it, 40% of energy goes to the building and it should be provided by the grid and make it more people-oriented and more sustainable. If we are looking at what we are seeing in the future or what's happening right now that will be create our next step, we can see that there are lots of market driver in the from the, let's say, before year of 2000, we have a bulk power generation, we have a centralized generation that bring the load from those generation to the far loads that can be in the urban. We have some changes that they started to what we call it here HVAC or AC system for cooling and providing the good quality air for the building. These are the main driver. And right now in the 2010, we see the lots of energy automation, lots of new way of the long distance transmission. We have seen the HVDC line. Also on the side of the building, we see okay, more building automation is happening and moving forward to the small building that they can provide the energy efficiency, provide asset management capability, and providing beside of that the smart grid distributed energy resource integration with the grid that can be comes with the integration of the smart meter, energy storage, microgrid, and the act of the customer, not necessarily only the user and consumer, but act as a prosumer that has their own inside generation. In this area, in the future, what we will see, automated grid operation through the digital grid and AI. And also we want to see that AI in a smart building too. These are two paths and two waves that are creating the sustainable infrastructure. Can be autonomous, semi-autonomous in some sense that we can engage all the different stakeholders in this structure. What we want to do, we want to have an efficient and sustainable grid, and also managing these distributed energy resources that are coming. Our main challenge can be a net zero challenge, or adding the unpredictable consumption with the high number of the changes in the load, like EV heat pump, that can be additional load in our system. We have a volatile or unpredictable distributed energy resources. In the line of the transmission, we don't want to have a one way of the power flows that is from the point A to the point B with a special and traditional transmission planning. We want to have a bi-directional power flow. When we have some extra generation or extra load or extra capability can be shared with the other player. We have a new changer and newcomer in the energy and power industry. And meanwhile, all these players in the grid, we have a trend of the digitalization that's bring IT, OT convergence, management of the new grid topology, and all our always challenging task for our grid, like designing the protection, our legal and regulation, and how basically by the new player, how the new business model will be created. That's That brings a lots of interesting opportunity to the grid engineer, power system engineer, and the power and energy industry and community. We need to look at it. If we look at the business priority, we need to be compliance with the rules. Also, we need to resilience and also efficient. In this triangle, we need to keep optimal grid planning, also providing cybersecurity and make the process of the digitalization happens. We will see that there are major market driver in our grid. First, in transmission, large-scale renewable growth. For instance, in the United States, in North Europe, there are major programs to absorb lots of clean energy resources from the offshore field. Offshore resources in the scale, they are huge, and they need the largest scale HVDC line to interconnect it to the grid. These resources, they will not act like our traditional nuclear power plant or gas power plant or the fossil-based generation that they can bring the system inertia. This type of generation, they bring a lower system inertia and lower reactive power support. We need the new technology to support and make our grid stable. Also, to how to increase the grid capacity and also bilateral energy transmission through our existing infrastructure, also plus with our future infrastructure that should be implemented. These are mainly in the high level for transmission. If you look at the distribution, our customer, they are putting their own solar rooftop generation, or they put their emergency generator, or they put their own energy storage. Some of the utility that are supporting that the customer go put their own energy storage at their own premises. Different approach to increase the distribution system visibility, bring the automation, and adding the new resources in the distribution, which is usually and conventionally driven by the one way of the power and just providing the load to the customer. The paradigm for distribution changes is changing, and it's not the one direction power flow model is going to work for distribution anymore. These are from the perspective of the industry. From other part of the industry and trends, we are receiving lots of new technology that they are pushing us to the new frontier. How? For example, IT-OT convergence. The IT is getting more involved with the operational technology and putting lots of new sensor and are increasing our computational capability, brings the operation and planning of the grid more straightforward, more data-driven, and not less using lots of rule-based way to plan and accommodate the new resources. And also make it more accessible, automation and information exchange between the devices and also from the system level. We have a cloud technology and cloud technology which makes the data exchange, accessibility to the data much easier than the previous. Also, when we have a more data and more bigger IT infrastructure, cybersecurity threat will be there too. We need to be ready for that. If we look at the whole picture, what our expectation, how about the DER hosting capacity, the number of these renewable resources or distributed resources will be placed on the customer side. It will be increase and increase. And this causes more complexity to the operation and also planning of the future of the distribution system. if we just look at it, if this electrification of everything happens in some pieces of the grid or some country or some region or some cities, we need 2 times more grid capacity expansion. Our study shows maybe in 10 years we need to have a double size of the capacity, and we needed more grid, we needed more system to make it that happens, and the transition and exchanging of the power happens in the system. What we need to consider? We need to be flexible. We need to define the next level of the grid, how to operate, how to plan for that, and also envisioning what will be happens in the future. And also we make it optimized and being flexible to do the data management, to make these new resources available and also accessible, and make our these challenging tasks easier and achievable. This is the whole picture that what we are seeing in the Siemens PTI consulting team. We will see fleet and grid planning, because EV and including the electrification will change and add the new loads in our system. We will see the building electrification, lots of changes about the energy efficiency in the building, more reliance on the electricity to provide and make the premises livable and achievable. In the other side, still we need to provide the reliability and resiliency, because our resources is getting changes. We are moving from centralized, predictable generation to more unpredictable, intermittent resources, that they cannot only sitting off far from our load, they are sitting with the load as well. Also, we see the digitalization and lots of technology changes, and all these from the operation perspective and challenges, we need the integrated resource and system planning that look at this problem holistically and in the one picture. If we just look at it, and we will understand, if we just look at the conventional way of the investment, which is just putting the new transmission line or new substation or new transformer, it will be enough. With this gap and this exponential growth, we will understand we need to have an innovative solution, combining our conventional methodology to address this issue with the new technology, combining our asset with the software, combining our AI and machine learning methodology to reduce the number of the capacity, to increase the capacity of the grid, and also make it available and make it happen for the grid to absorb all these new players. Just if you want to pause here and think about it, are we underestimate or overestimate this challenge? I just bring a couple of references that we look at it and see how the other organization looking for future. We use the Guidehouse, we use the Bloomberg New Energy Foundation, and also McKinsey, and combine it, and we will see the 3 main trends. They see increasing of distributed energy resources by a factor of 7 by not so far by 2030. That means we can see by right now, if we are in the 2023, by 7 years, we will see more adoption of the DER. This is one, and different type of DER is not necessarily one type of a DER being prominent, and put the stress and put the congestion on the system. But another factor that we've seen, by 2040, almost 60% of the new passenger vehicle will be electrical. With the new, we can see that the trend, not only new EV maker, also conventional car maker move to providing the EV version of their car, and some of them they going to stop their conventional ICE engine, and they want to move all electrical, and all these load will come to the grid, should be served and should be provided. And also, if we look at by considering all these energy efficiency measure that has been considered or not, if we just considering by 2050, our electricity demand will be double. And this electricity demand should be provided by the existing infrastructure and existing power grid system. It is not only distribution system, also transmission, sub-transmission, how we can provide the electricity and transmit our electricity from the generation side to our critical load, and how this will be changed. I will pause here and go, because in the next slide I will go to share with you different two use cases based on our experience, our engagement with our client. Up to now, if anybody has a question, I'm really happy to answer. If there is no question, I can move to this new session. Please ask any question if you have it. Okay. If you want to please keep your question. We can have it in our last 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Hopefully we can pass through this one. This example I want to share with you is about the utility perspective. Utility wants to see if they are starting one of their main transition center that in the big city started the buses become the e-buses, and lots of these ICE engine based buses move and become electrified. What will be happens to the grid, and what will happens to their substation that they're providing the electricity to this system? Just wanted to, what we are seeing is not necessarily is a global trend or a specific trend in some part of the world. We can see it. This is happening in the local too. In the left side, you can see the number of the EV volume selling. In the global perspective, you can see the growth, and this red line that show the significant growth. Also in the local trend, I just bring one example from my city in Orlando, how the number of the EV based car will be increased. And you can see the impact. In Siemens, we talked about it, how we can make the grid ready for that. We look at it, okay, we need to look at the EV peak demand, and then look at our distribution feeder, have available capacity, how we can make it this one a smooth transition. We look at it basically in the US system. We have a primary distribution system and also secondary distribution system, which can be after the downstream of the distribution transformer. Residential EV, for instance, I myself I can put my EV charger in my home because I bought a new EV. I want to add it. It can be in the charging bigger station, that can be placed in the mall, it can be placed in the commercial building, it can be placed in the university campuses and lots of the other businesses. They want to promote this accessible to the EV. Also, we have a public transport, what we discussed. We have a huge transit system. They want to move from the conventional buses to e-buses. How much new electrical infrastructure they need? We are looking at it. We are going to break it down and approach it in the different, based on the what's the EV load forecast look like. I just bring this one for your attention. We have a substation 401 that they are providing the electricity for the transit system in the city center. And you can see two specific feeder 401. Also, in this area, we have one main substation 401 and also two adjacent substation 301, 501, which you can see it from this figure in the right side. We wanted to see if these transit center, the buses and train is become electrified, what will happen. These two main feeder that they are supporting the transit system is a 30 kV feeder. We received the summer peak value from the utility, which is 2021. They want to see if during the 10 years from the 2022, the buses started to become e-buses, what will be happens to the grid. It is one piece will be related to the green feeder and also orange feeder, only providing the electricity to the transit center. There are other feeders that we discussed that they are going to the commercial and residential load. And they wanted to see their impact on the distribution feeder. We designed the one algorithm, one methodology, how to measure the stress of the system by considering our loading limits, how much of the nominal capacity can be absorbed by the new load in the both normal operation condition and also emergency condition. Beside of the loading, we consider the voltage limit as well. What is the ANSI limit tell us? And this utility, they are utilizing the ANSI C84.1 for defining the high voltage and low voltage limit. We run this study and we will understand, okay, in next 10 years, what will be happen? This is the condition, our current condition for the year of the study, which was 2022. You can see most of the voltage value, the thermal limit, they are in accessible and acceptable ranges. We don't see so much no over voltage or under voltage or overloading in the part of the grid. But when we define our different scenario for adoption of the EV, what will happen? We will see that in the different area, we will see different problem. 10 years from the study year, that means 2032, you can see the voltage distribution in the peak condition, how it look like, and also loading. You can see that we are passing some voltage limit constraint in area 2, also in area 3 and 4, and also in the 5 and 6, you can see in the red line. It is not only voltage problem. Also, we identify the thermal limit in the area 1. Interestingly, when you look at this figure, the transit center is still, they have a good capacity to serve the new e-buses that they are coming in the transit center to get charged and discharged and move forward. And we will see more problem in the commercial and residential area, that our grid is not ready to accept those new charging stations. And adoption rate by increasing and reaching to the limitation will cause a direct impact to the grid. This is what understood from this study I wanted to share with you. Mostly the green and orange feeder that they are designed to provide the electricity to the transit center almost is 55% of their peak load. That means we have enough capacity to provide the new e-buses. But we will see more impact in the EV commercial proliferation, which causes more pressure on our grid. And our grid should be upgraded from this perspective. In this study, we didn't really go to look at the contingency or look at any circuit segmentation or switching that happening that we need to different model and do the different scenario. It can be done with the for the next step of the project. We didn't look at the heating electrification or any existing PV or any behind the meter energy storage in the system. We just purely look at the impact of the EV and also in the both residential, commercial, and the transit center. We didn't consider the benefit that can be provided by the bidirectional EV charging station, or it can be done in the next step. Another use case that I think is very good to share with you, we look at the city. We call it our city wants to drive the heavy electrification. Three major load modifier will be added to the system. What are these three major loads? Definitely our first suspect is the EV charging. They are promoting that the city residents, they are moving forward to the using the EV and also supporting the e-buses in the city, one big driver. They are supporting building electrification by using the heat pump, moving from the gas-based or fossil-based heating system to the electric-based heating. Also, they are saying, okay, we want to promote the new generation that can be placed on the rooftop, let's say photovoltaic distributed energy resources. We wanted to, what we did here, we combine all these load modifier, three main, and also we look at the each hour in the year for 8,660 hours, how much the load will be changes. And we look at the system impact, how much this will be impacted our grid, especially in the distribution, what type of mitigation will be needed. And we wanted to see each feeder, how much it has a different future in the comparison with the other feeder. We will see when we put this adoption rate that most of the building electrification happens. In the peak scenario of 2050, our peak load will be see 2 times of the 2030 peak. This is what we will see in the line of the big picture estimation and forecasting that the other institute they are doing. And it shows the importance of the future planning for the utility specific with the green driven city that they want to provide the electricity for these main three drivers. If you just look at the city distribution grid, it is a sample one. There are 10 feeders that are providing electricity to the different part of the city. You can see there are very short feeders that they are just providing in the downtown of the city. Also, there are long feeders like the blue one in the right. They are going to the most suburban area or outside of the city, long feeder, but with the low density of the customer. In here, we have a 2 voltage layer, 8 kV and 13 kV feeder. They have a different capacity to provide it. One of the feeder specifically designed for the city center or the downtown, we call it 201. Other utility 101 and also 204 and 206 and 303 just partially serving the city. These feeders, they are mixed commercial, mixed residential. Yes, this is the unique situation, not unique. It can be very common, and very similar to other city in the northeast of the United States. You have a condensed area to provide the electricity in your city center. Also, you have a suburban area that you have a distributed load that you need to provide the reliable electricity to your customer. If you want to see the impact of the three load modifier, what will happen? We look at it in the picture, our study, we get the data from 2023. We look at it in the three steps, 2030, 2040, and 2050. How much will be our load will be changed, and how much our distribution system will be changed, and how much we need to provide the mitigation for that. We designed this structure with our colleagues. We have a base planning feeder model for the year T, and then we are going updating the model based on the next year. We run the simulation, we run the power flow, evaluate the impact, and develop the mitigation and update the model, and then go to the next 10 years and see the impact. Our conventional mitigation is reconductoring, changing service transformer, upgrade, also putting the new capacitor voltage regulator if the voltage support is needed. Also, we will reach to the putting the new feeder and new substation, and also upgrading the existing substation transformer. It is very interesting when we look at the whole peak days. If we can see in 2030, almost our peak day happens during the summer, end of the summer. If we call the January 1st the first day, you can see that the peak is going to be happens in the September time. If we move and adding all those heating electrification, also adding the EV, also adding the new generation, which is PV, the impact of the grid, you can see the peak demand will be changed. You can see that in the 2040, mostly the peak day will happen in the January timeframe, in the day of 14. Same thing, same trend in 2050, you can see. And interestingly, from the distribution planning perspective, the peak day has been moved. The peak season has been moved from the summertime to the winter time due to the change of the load profile. That load mainly will be heating pump providing the clean energy to for the housing, and also providing the load for the EV to charging and make them ready for the usage. And also that time of the year, during this winter time, we have a very limited PV generation that they can support us to fit the load. You can see these changes, main driver, will change the paradigm of the distribution planning, which can be only pay attention to the peak time and peak day of the day. And we want to see, okay, for the newcomer, for the new type of the load, we need to look at and updating our distribution planning practices. These are the more resolution for each of the feeder, how much feeder peak demand will be changed. Interestingly, you look at it, they are very clearly the second feeder from the left, which is 201, it has a higher rate of the increase based on the base load. And the other one, you can see the same trend from the year of 2030 to 40 and 50. Same story for the load scenario 2. That's interesting observation and finding that the city and load profile in the load scenario, almost the load has been doubled from the 2023. It has been quadrupled from 2023 in the high load scenario. we have seen that the highest increase happens in the feeder 201. Why? Because these feeder dedicated to the city center that feeding large building load, and those buildings are going to be electrified, and they are going to put the heat pump to providing the heating system. Then what we understood from this study, how much three-phase unbalanced loading and modeling is will be critical. If you have a distributed customer with the less heat pump courage to it, you will not see a big difference in the load, but except you will see the same thing. And the interesting, the peak load is not going to be happens that the PV is going to generate. That means still you need to be planning for the peak load that will happen near to the as we look at the profile of the load, it will be happens in the afternoon and evening time. Another finding that is interesting for us, the electrification, the main driver is there for heating purposes. EV will have a secondary impact on that, specifically for this study. We need to run more study and assessment to the other type of the other part of the US or other part and see the impact will be. And this is showing how much critical changes happens to the grid that needs to be updated our current approaches. We need to look at when we see the situation, if we want to follow the trends of the electrification in the future, definitely we need to find a cost-effective distribution upgrade, such as non-wire alternative or distribution system management that they can balance the situation in different conditions. These load modifier, how they can be controlled and leveraged and get this understanding what is the infrastructure enhancements will be needed. How we can manage and delay and also put it in advance for this requirement. How we can use the support that the EV can provide in the peak demand, which we didn't look at it. If we have a V2G, what will be the impact? Then computationally, this simulation, we go to the lots of data crunching for every hour, defining the load profile, generation profile for each customer, then modifying it to the each service transformer, and then translating to the feeder and the feeder head and the substation transformer. The good thing is that we have this computational capability. How we can utilize the existing IT for an OT for the future of the grid operation, then we can accommodate more DER in our system. We need the more dynamic, more future-oriented planning approaches. Also, what we discussed, we need the IT structure to support this advanced planning. I want to pause here and move to the question. Please, we can start the Q&A session right now. Let me. Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Wahra Zamani. When I look at the comments part, only one question I saw. I think she's Angela G. How to get job in Siemens? Ask to you.
Siemens is a very huge. It's a good question. Thank you for asking first. We are an international company. That means we are in different countries, active with the different business units. What we can, it depends on your country. Really, you can apply for a job and see the opening position. The good story is that lots of due to lots of new initiative and new project, we have a many opening. Just search for that. If you have a specific country, you can reach out to me. I have a contact information I can share at the end of the presentation. Yeah. And always Siemens is looking for the best talent. That's our approach. Yeah.
Okay, when I look at the other ones, I think no question. That's only one.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Wahraz Zamani, for this wonderful presentation. It was very valuable information and it is enjoyable for us. We also thank you for taking time to share this information, important informations. Everybody, our submits today's session completed. Tomorrow we will continue. Thank you for taking time to listen to this wonderful and invaluable informations. Good day, good evening, good night. We will continue tomorrow. Please continue to participate tomorrow. Thank you.
Have a good one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.